Initial reactions, however, were marked with confusion and even tighter lockdowns as cities scrambled to keep a lid on rising cases. Beijing residents cheered the removal of COVID-19 testing booths, while Shenzhen followed other cities in announcing it would no longer require commuters to present their test results to travel, as an easing of China's virus curbs gathered pace. Although daily cases hover near all-time highs, some cities are taking steps to loosen COVID-19 testing requirements and quarantine rules as China looks to make its zero-COVID policy more targeted amid an economic slowdown and public frustration that has boiled over into unrest. 3 years into the pandemic, China has been a global outlier with its zero-tolerance approach towards COVID that has seen it enforce lockdowns and frequent virus testing. It says the measures are needed to save lives and avoid overwhelming its healthcare system. China began tweaking its approach last month, urging localities to become more targeted. Initial reactions, however, were marked with confusion and even tighter lockdowns as cities scrambled to keep a lid on rising cases. Then a deadly apartment fire last month in the far western city of Urumqi sparked dozens of protests against COVID curbs in a wave unprecedented in mainland China since President Xi Jinping took power in 2012. Cities including Guangzhou and Beijing have since taken the lead in making changes. On Saturday, the southern city of Shenzhen announced it would no longer require people to show a negative COVID test result to use public transport or enter parks, following similar moves by Chengdu and Tianjin, among China's biggest cities. A video showing workers in Beijing removing a testing booth by crane onto a truck went viral on Chinese social media on Friday. "This should have been taken away earlier," said one commentator. "Banished to history," said another. Reuters was not able to verify the authenticity of the footage. At some of the remaining booths, however, residents grumbled about hour-long queues for the tests due to the closures. China is set to further announce a nationwide reduction in testing requirements, as well as allowing positive cases and close contacts to isolate at home under certain conditions, sources familiar with the matter told Reuters earlier this week. Xi, during a meeting with European Union officials in Beijing on Thursday, blamed the mass protests on youth frustrated by years of the COVID-19 pandemic, but said the now dominant Omicron variant of the virus paved the way for fewer restrictions, EU officials said. Officials have only recently begun to downplay the dangers of Omicron, a significant change in messaging in a country where fear of COVID has run deep. On Friday, some Beijing neighborhoods posted guidelines on social media on how positive cases can be quarantined at home, a landmark move that marks a break from official guidance to send such people to central quarantine. Still, the relief has also been accompanied by concerns, especially from groups such as the elderly who feel more exposed to a disease authorities had consistently described as deadly until this week, highlighting the difficulties Xi and Chinese leaders face in loosening. China reported 32,827 new local COVID-19 infections for December 2nd, down from 34,772 a day earlier.
Biden meets with Prince of Wales in Boston. President Joe Biden met with the Prince of Wales in Boston on Friday, where the two men shared warm memories of the late Queen Elizabeth II, according to Kensington Palace. The Prince and Princess of Wales are in Boston for the second annual Earthshot Prize Awards ceremony, an ambitious initiative founded by Prince William to help tackle some of the planet's most pressing environmental challenges, which is scheduled for Friday. The heir to the British throne was inspired to launch the project by President John F. Kennedy's moonshot speech in 1962 when he tasked the United States to push forward with space exploration. After Biden greeted the prince outside the JFK Presidential Library and Museum, the pair spent a half-hour together and had a warm, friendly and substantive discussion, according to a statement from Kensington Palace. The palace said the prince also shared his global, long-term ambition for the prize. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre had said earlier Friday that climate goals and the prioritization of mental health were expected to be discussed. Biden was last at the Boston Library in September, where he delivered remarks on his administration's Cancer Moonshot program. The Bidens have met with the British royals on a number of occasions, including recently attending Queen Elizabeth II's London funeral this past September. During their meeting in Boston, Prince William thanked Biden for traveling to the Queen's services. The royals' three-day visit to Boston marks their first trip to the United States since 2014, when they visited New York. The pair also previously embarked on a whirlwind California tour a few months after their wedding in 2011. The couple's trip had been seen by some as an opportunity to reset perceptions in the U.S. after a damaging few years. New seasons of Netflix show The Crown have revived old criticisms of the monarchy, while the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey tarnished the family's reputation, particularly over allegations of racism. But as the couple flew into the city, controversy erupted back home, after an aide resigned following unacceptable and deeply regrettable remarks to a black executive visiting Buckingham Palace earlier this week. In Boston, Biden later participated in a phone bank with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. The president told reporters on Friday that while in Boston, he will be helping Georgia Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock's runoff campaign by fundraising for the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. A new CNN poll conducted by SSRS shows Warnock holds a narrow lead over Republican challenger Herschel Walker among those likely to vote in a runoff election Tuesday. CNN previously reported that Biden was headed to Massachusetts on Friday to headline a fundraiser for the Georgia Senate runoff race. The president is set to appear at the event with Democratic Massachusetts Sens. Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey. This story has been updated with additional developments.
Suspect arrested in killing of rapper Takeoff, say Houston police. A suspect has been arrested and charged with murder in the killing of Takeoff, the rapper and member of Migos, at a bowling alley in Houston last month. Announcing the news on Friday, Houston police said Takeoff, who was 28 and whose birth name was Kirshnik Karibal, was an innocent bystander. The city police chief, Troy Finner, said Patrick Xavier Clark, 33, was arrested and charged on Thursday evening. Another man, Cameron Joshua, 22, was charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. Clark was being held in jail, awaiting a bond hearing. Court records did not list an attorney who could speak for him. "We lost a good man," Finner said of Takeoff. Migos broke through with the massive hit Versace in 2013. They had 4 top 10 hits on the Billboard Hot 100, though Takeoff was not on their multi-week #1, Bad and Bougie, featuring Lil Uzi Vert. They put out a trilogy of albums, Culture, Culture 2 and Culture 3, the first 2 hitting #1 on the Billboard 200 album chart. Takeoff and Quavo released a joint album, only built for Infinity Links, weeks before Takeoff's death. At a memorial service in Atlanta last month, fans and performers including Drake and Justin Bieber celebrated Takeoff's musical legacy, the Associated Press reported. The shooting happened in the early hours of November 1st. Police said a dispute erupted as more than 30 people were leaving a private party. Police have also said another man and a woman suffered non-life-threatening gunshot injuries and that at least 2 people opened fire. On Friday, a Houston police sergeant, Michael Burrow, told reporters, "There was a lucrative dice game that went on at the event. There was an argument that happened afterwards outside the bowling alley which led to the shooting. I can tell you that Takeoff was not involved in playing the dice game. He was not involved in the argument that happened outside. He was not armed. He was an innocent bystander. Burrow also called for more witnesses to come forward, saying, "We've boiled it down to over 30 people that were standing outside." Literally, every single one of those people left the scene without giving a statement to police. "We found a few of them that night, we've found others since then, but it's important that those people come forward." Under Texas law, if convicted of murder, Clark could receive between 5 years and 99 years in prison, and possibly even life imprisonment.